Peace, good morning. I'd like to welcome you guys back to another edition of the Foul Playland. As always, I'm your foul player. Wanted to discuss this Devin Haney fight from last night, what my thoughts were, and what his contribution to the current landscape is. If you guys didn't know, Devin Haney fought against Jojo Diaz last night. It was a step up in my eyes for Devin Haney. I thought it was his toughest fight to date before they fought, and could have been his toughest fight to date. After watching the fight, but regardless, I mean, this is a big statement win. I mean, some people may say that they wanted to see Devin Haney get the knockout. I get that, but Devin Haney did step on the gas a lot more in this fight. He showed that he has more than one gear. Devin Haney could have easily, I think, coasted into a win with just using his jab and his length, and he didn't. I mean, he sat down on some of his punches. He let Jojo at times lead him to the corner, but he wasn't getting stuck in the corner. He was punishing Jojo Diaz in the corner. One thing Devin Haney does have, I mean, I like the fact that he could place his shots really well. Not everything is going to be a knockout punch. I mean, even the best placed punches aren't going to be effective or concussive, but Devin Haney was peppering Jojo Diaz at will. And if he would have just kept doing that with his jab, Jojo Diaz would have been lucky to hit him 100 times throughout the fight. Jabs and power punches. Devin Haney is really good. I'm not going to front on him one iota. I mean, at times, I think the rabid fan base could be a little annoying, but fan bases don't make the fighter. Everything that I want from Jojo Diaz, he's doing. As far as his call-out game, he looks for action. I mean, he literally, backs down everybody in and around his division as far as, his willingness to show that he wants to fight them. He already has 27 wins, 27 fights. I mean, for a 23-year-old, that's a good pace. But in today's landscape, that's fantastic. And you also got to factor that he was out for quite some time when he had that shoulder surgery. In spite of having to sit back or to sit down for a little while, he still has 27 fights. I mean, you compare that with Tank Davis, who I think has 25, 24, and Tank Davis is 27. Devin Haney's 23, if I remember correctly. So everything that I want from Haney, he's doing. So I think he's. I'll get to that in a minute. Let me get to the fight though. As far as with the fight, I may have given Jojo Diaz 3 rounds, and I mean that could have been 2. I don't want to put what round. I gave him because after the 10th I stopped scoring because the fight was exciting. But this was a really exciting fight too. I mean, we can't front on that. As far as just this fight, it was really exciting. I mean, it was a little corny that Jojo Diaz's corner was telling him that he was ahead after round 2. I don't know why. Because he wasn't ahead, and I mean, it's not the time to be discussing that, especially if you're winning. If you think you're winning, you'd rather be saying that you're behind at any point. But early in the fight, I thought that was a little bit nutty. Haney did get wobbled a few times. Again, he could have avoided that by just playing a game of jabs and keep away. But it ended up being a way better fight because of that, though. I mean, Devin Haney, I think, felt compelled to give the people a performance that was more memorable, and he did that with this fight. I mean, in spite of not getting the knockdown, I mean, that's a real. That's simpleton shit. I mean, if you're going to bring up and hold that against Devin Haney, I mean, he takes his first real big step up. I mean, if I didn't really count King George, as much of a scalp when he fought Linares. But this fight, Jojo just had, really good fights. I mean, his only loss was against Gary Russell. In spite of the fact that Jojo had to, step up and weight, But this is still a big win for Devin Haney. I mean, he already has a real good number on his record as far as like almost being at 30 wins. But this is his adding a name into that mix. But on top of that, I mean, if you want to say, oh, his resume is not all that, I mean, he's trying to fight everybody. So I mean, like, and I'm not like here to be a nut hugger either. Like, I mean, like, like fans get their I mean, like boxers get collateral from me as far as their reputation goes, and as far as me considering them pursuing of action on a case by case basis. And on a case by case basis, Devin Haney seemingly is calling out everybody, and I like that. In spite of the fact that people may not fight him, I mean, at least he's like putting the ball in their court, like, or putting the pressure on them by showing his willingness to fight anybody. And like, how refreshing was that? Like, in the post fight after he beats Jojo Diaz, like where he immediately calls out Cambosos and shows him a willingness to go fight in Australia and on another planet entirely. That's refreshing. Like it's so annoying, especially with PBC fighters when they get into, oh, well, I'm gonna talk to like, I mean, it happens to everybody, but you'll never see a PBC fighter by and large in the post fight do something admirable or memorable in the post fight after they go into a victory. But Devin Haney, I mean, like he has a lot of character. I mean, he talks really well, and he called out Cambosos. I mean, like off the rip. So that's good to see, And I hope whoever wins, Haney or Cambosos, I hope Devin Haney wins in that fight. If it were up to me, because I like the potential for American guy across the boxing landscape to be dominant, or to be the guy, which any of these young cats could do, but like their actions don't reflect that outside of Devin Haney. Devin Haney's the only guy who I think is on an active call-out mode, and that's good to see. I mean, like, do other guys do it? Yeah, but they don't do it as much as Haney. Like, and as far as Devin Haney's corner, like, I mean, a lot of people like were going into these like psychoanalytical tirades these past couple weeks as far as fathers in the corner, and like making a cheap argument against like Tiafimo's father, and kind of like breaking down like the benefits and or the drawbacks against having your father in the corner, like regardless of who Devin Haney has in the corner. And this is just an assessment as far as like his corner last night. They were giving him excellent advice. Excellent advice. They were giving him excellent advice between the rounds, like shouting out instructions from the corner. I'm not sure if that was his pops or who it was, but they were giving him really good advice. Like they were guiding him, like, and telling him, listen, like, not like giving him a sense of desperation in some of these rounds that may have been lost to him, or the times that he was getting hurt. They were just telling him, be careful, and none of this. You're ahead in this round, or you're gaining points, like, so chill. Nah, I mean, he wasn't doing any of that. I mean, and if you want to say that it was he was doing any of that in this fight, you tell me, because I didn't see one round where I thought he was being lax or coasting into getting a cheap 10 points by doing a little bit of action and then running away. He wasn't like, you tell me what round he did that, and I'm gonna call you a liar, because he wasn't doing that at all last night. But as far as the landscape of who I think Haney could be, and or what, like, potentially, remember, he's 23. Like, you don't know what, like, and I'll just speak for 135 first. I think that Devin Haney, if Tiafimo stuck around, that would be a good fight. If Tiafimo's performance from last week was carried into his next fight, or if he fought similarly to how he fought next fight, and those supposed physical ailments don't have an effect, I think Devin Haney beats that version of Tiafimo. And I didn't think that last week. I think the version of Cambosos that beat Tiafimo could possibly beat Devin Haney. That would be a good fight. I may edge that to Devin Haney. I gotta see how I feel then. But remember, like Kambosos fought under extreme circumstances, as far as like his grandfather dying, like being away from his kid, being away from his continent, and he fought better than I anticipated against Tiafimo. In spite of that, now going back, if he goes back to Australia, and these crazy life events don't happen, like will he perform as good? I mean, who knows? Maybe not though. But as far as Tank versus Devin Haney, that's a little bit tougher. But I probably would edge that to Tank. But at the end of the day, like I'd rather see the fights, and like Tank is not gonna call out no Devin Haney because Tank's buns. Tiafimo somewhat has shown like a little bit of mudslinging to Devin Haney, but I mean I don't see them lining it up. I mean, even though like, and a lot of things too, like I fear that the boxing business may hurt Devin Haney, but if he beats Kambosos, throw boxing business out of the frame. You got a 23 or 24-year-old that's gonna have all these belts off the rip, good looking kid. So boxing business may not be able to hurt Devin Haney, so he's probably better off like staying where he's at, or maybe going into a fight by fight basis with Matchroom or DAZN, and keep getting that number up. By the time Devin Haney is done with Matchroom, he may have like 30 wins. I mean, like, or be a free agent and have 30 wins. And that's fantastic for a young cat. So. Is Devin Haney the truth? I think so. I think he's focused. I think that he's shown a willingness to be a gym rat, or like not involved in the BS. I like his dad. Like I like the people that are around Devin Haney. I like the fact that you could tell that he has that North Cali accent. Like but you only see promises, like, or you only see good things lined up for him. Like, if he, like, fights Kambosos next, I hope that happens, because, I mean, like, Kambosos is changing his tune a little bit, but, if he fights Kambosos next, he'll go to the Bay Area and get a light touch, and he's already at 29 wins. 24 years old? Come on. That's fantastic. But let me know what you guys think. With that, I'm out.